The Constitution was America's best idea. The national parks were one of our better ideas, and the Democrats' open border policy is clearly and unquestionably America's worst idea. Since Biden took office, that policy has produced the deliberate release into our country, in direct violation of federal law, 2.6 million illegal immigrants. Our law requires that every asylum seeker be detained until their asylum claim is adjudicated. That law is being ignored. Now, by the way, that's the population of the state of West Virginia. And while the Border Patrol's been overwhelmed dealing with that, another 1.7 million known gotaways have illegally entered our country as well. That's an additional illegal population the size of New Mexico. So in the last 34 months, the Democrats have admitted 2 new states into the country the size of West Virginia and New Mexico, virtually all of them destitute, desperate, and dependent. They've migrated to sanctuary cities like New York, and the hypocrisy of declaring yourself a sanctuary city where illegal immigration is welcomed and encouraged, and then protesting the result of that is the ultimate comic tragedy. Now, Mayor Adams has complained that the 110,000 migrants in his city will destroy it, and he blames Texas. Well, Texas is responsible for sending about 15,000 illegal immigrants with their consent to New York. But as Governor Abbott just pointed out, all the rest were sent by Joe Biden, once Biden allowed all of them into the country in the first place. And of course, we have the same problem in California. New York and California voters overwhelmingly voted for Biden and the Democrats. So, folks, sorry, but you get the government you vote for. And when you voted for the Democrats, this is exactly what you voted for. And if you're surprised by this, you weren't paying any attention. You know, as Abraham Lincoln said it, the voters are everything. If they get their backsides too close to the fire, they'll just have to sit on the blisters a while. That might be painful, but hopefully it's a learning experience. Or as Cicero put it, I don't blame Caesar, I blame those who cheered for Caesar. So the issue is not where this unprecedented illegal mass migration is being settled. The issue is that this administration, the people that have been elected to it, have not only allowed it, but have actively encouraged it. Not as a matter of incompetence, or as the chairman called it, a mistake. They've done it methodically and deliberately. And this is going to continue until the people responsible for these policies have been turned out of office, and you've already heard from a few of them today. The issue goes far beyond the decision to turn our national parks into migrant camps. Explain to me how we make our communities safer by making it all but impossible to deport criminal illegal aliens and instead release them back into our communities. This is the central function of sanctuary cities, which New Yorkers have happily voted themselves to be. How do we protect our citizens by inviting the criminal cartels to set up shop in our communities and then flood them with fentanyl and other lethal drugs? How do we make our schools better by packing our classrooms with non-English speaking students? How do we strengthen the social safety net for Americans by admitting millions of impoverished, homeless, and destitute people into our country? How do we make our hospitals more accessible by cramming them with illegals demanding uncompensated care? How do we improve the wages for working Americans by flooding the labor market with cheap illegal labor? History is screaming this warning at us that countries that either cannot or will not secure their borders simply aren't around very long. Without borders, we have no country. We've simply become a vast, lawless, plundered international territory between Canada and Mexico. You know, we'd finally secured our borders during the Trump administration. Trump's Remain in Mexico policy all but brought phony asylum claims to a standstill. The border wall was nearing completion and court-ordered deportations were being enforced. On his first day in office, Biden reversed those policies and has produced the worst illegal mass migration in history. The bill passed by the House of Representatives, H.R. 2, would restore our borders, but the Democrats are blocking it in the Senate, and Biden's vowed to veto it. And that's the real issue, and that's the issue at the center of this hearing. Mr. Huffman made it clear that the Democrats consider this crisis a mere distraction. I wonder if the people might have a different opinion.